First lesson on algebraic expressions. So today's lesson is about writing an algebraic expression as a process. So understanding what an algebraic expression is telling us. First of all, an algebraic expression is just we can think of it like a sentence involving mathematical symbols. So things like our x, which stands for some unknown quantity, and our 1 is obviously a mathematical symbol, and their addition sign. So what this expression is telling us that this unknown number x is having 1 added to it. So if I was to write this as a function machine, what I'm trying to do here is write this expression as the process, what is happening to x, and importantly, in what order. So the way we're going to do this is we're going to start with our x, and I'm going to draw a series of arrows. Now after each arrow is going to be the next thing that is happening to x. Again, the order that we do this in is very important. So in this expression, there's only one thing happening here, and this is the +1. So our x is having a +1 applied to it. And what we get after we add this 1 is this expression. So when we add 1 to x, we end up with x plus 1. Our input was our x, and our output, what we got out after we applied this process, was our x plus 1. So if we take another expression, let's try this time x minus 2. So again, we have an algebraic expression, and we're going to try and write this as what process is happening to x to give us x minus 2. So again, we're going to start off with our x and work out what is happening. So with our x, we are subtracting 2 from it. So we are subtracting 2, and then our output, once we apply this process, we end up with x minus 2. Now 2 more. We're going to try what happens when we have something like 2x as an expression. So an expression of 2x, we need to understand that 2x means x is being multiplied by 2. So again, on our function machine, we are inputting our x, and we are now going to describe the process, what is happening to x. Well, x is being multiplied by 2, and when we do this, we end up with 2 lots of x, 2 times x, or x multiplied by 2. And the last type of expression we're going to look at is what happens if we have something like x over 5. So in this case, we have a fraction, which we are going to again describe as a process. So x over 5 this time, which, if you remember our rules of fractions, this just means x divided by 5. So our process here is divide by 5. And we end up with x over 5. Okay, so 4 different types of process here, 4 different types of expression, and we're just writing them out as x, our original unknown number, and what's happening to it. And then in the last part of our function machine just tells us what did we get out, what was our outcome when we applied that process. So for instance, x add 1 gave us x plus 1. Number x, we applied a minus 2 to it, we end up with x minus 2, and so on. So one's for you to try. I would like you to try these ones for me, please. X plus 7, x minus 4, 3x, and x over 6. So I'll give you a few minutes to write them as a function machine. Okay. So as a function machine, we take our x, The process that has been applied to x is that we are adding 7 to it. So we end up with x plus 7. Second one, x minus 4. Starting off with our unknown number x, and we are subtracting 4. So our process here is that we are going to subtract 4 from x. And we end up with that expression, x minus 4. Again, starting with our x, what's happening to x? Well, x has been multiplied by 3, so the process is to multiply by 3. And we end up with x, 3 times x. And our last one, x divided by 6. Oops. So starting off with x, what process is happening to x? In this case, for x over 6, that is x divided by 6. And we end up with x over 6. So these are all examples of one-step expressions where we are only applying one process to this unknown quantity of x. The next lesson will involve two-step or multi-step processes where there is more than one process happening. In that case, we're going to have to be careful of what order we do things in as well. Okay, so consult worksheet number 1 for some extra practice on this, and I'll see you in the next video.